So today we're going to be tying a pheasant tail nymph. We're going to start off here with the uh, Daiichi 1929 hook. I really like these hooks. They're barbless. I don't care about the black color, but they got they're like a scud shape, and I like using a scud shaped hook for my nymph patterns. I just think they look a little bit more realistic. So, like I said, size 12, we got a 3.3 mil bead on here, in a matte black. You could choose whatever color bead you want. Pretty boring with the black, but it seems to work for me. So, I'm gonna use a light olive 6/0 uni thread. Again, you can use pretty much any color you want. Try to match it or don't try to match it. It's your choice. That's the fun part about this fly tying stuff. So when I start the thread here, I want to start it. I like to start at like kind of the 1/3 mark. I like splitting my nymphs in the 1/3, 2/3. So wind the thread on here. And the first thing we're going to do here is add our wire for our rib. I went the Brassie size uni wire in copper. When I'm adding the wire, I usually try to slide the wire underneath the bead. Just helps keep it neat and tidy. You can, again, just like your thread, you can pick any color you like. You want to use copper, great. You want to use gold. You want to use silver. You want to use orange, whatever you want to try. Um, like I said, that's the best thing about fly tying. You can choose. So I like to put the wire on the back side here, kind of hold it with the kind of on the back side of the hook as I'm winding my thread on. And then I like to make things real difficult with these scud-shaped hooks. I like to reposition my hook. It just allows me to get the tail on there better and allows me to bring the fly down the curve of the hook a little bit better if I move it here. So we're gonna use the pheasant tail natural color here. I'm gonna use that for both the tail and for the legs. About the length of the body for tail size. I probably use more tailing material than most people do. I'm the same with the legs. I dress it a little bit heavier. I want to make sure that the fish sees the fly. I don't think the fish is going to sit there and count the legs or the tail fibers. I just want to make sure the fish sees the fly. So if you're one of those people that likes super lightly dressed flies, that's awesome. But this is generally what I tend to do is I tend to dress things a little bit heavier. So now I've changed this up recently. I used to wrap away from me with the tail feathers when I'm putting the body on, but I've changed to wrapping towards me. So you can do either way, but the big thing is you want to counter wrap your rib. So if you wrap your feathers away from you, then wrap your rib towards you, or vice versa. So here I'm wrapping the body towards me. So when I get to my wire, I'm going to wrap my wire away from me. It helps with the durability of the fly. So, but you can see once you just when you need to switch hands or whatever, just use your finger, push the fibers up against the hook, and they'll keep in place. So move it up again to about that 2/3 point, and then we're going to tie this off here. Now I'm going to wrap my wire forward, like I said, the opposite of how I wrapped my body on here. So you tie with as many turns as you want. You want to have 8 ribs, go ahead. You want to have 4 ribs, whatever. Again, this is up to you. I some people get this down to a real science, right? And it's 4 wraps for the wire, and um, I my OCD is not that bad. I have some OCD, but it's not that bad. So the next thing to go on here, when I tie this, is I'm gonna put the legs on here. Um, Again, I'm not gonna put just 3 legs on each side. I I go a little bit heavier, so you kind of got to measure out the length of your legs there from where they're going to be, and then you got to add a little bit that's going to be the thorax, or the part that's going to be covered up by the thread wrap. So kind of measure where you want it, and then extend it a little bit. The more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. It's probably one of the harder things to do with the pheasant tail is getting those legs the right length. If you're gonna err on a side, I would say go too long with your legs, because you could always trim them. If you go too short, then they're too short, and there's nothing you can do about that. So tying that down, there are some different ways of tying this fly. This is the way I tie it. Um, this way just works for me. So, all right. So once we've got that wrapped down, we're going to grab our peacock herl. And I'd kind of do this little trick to make my peacock herl a little bit stronger. So we're going to put a loop in the thread here, and that thread's just going to add some strength to the peacock herl when we're twisting it on. Sometimes I find if it's older um, herl, sometimes it'll snap off. So this is kind of like a dubbing loop. Just a little bit of a loop, and then tie it off. So for this fly, size 12, I grabbed 3 strands of peacock herl. Make sure the ends are all nice and even. Anything on the white on the end of the herl, make sure to pick that off. Um, and yeah, just add it to the secure it to the hook. When we get back to the back here, I'm gonna grab my hackle pliers, and I'm gonna join the hackle pliers with this loop, and I'm gonna then twist it, and that's just like I said, it's gonna add strength to this peacock herl. So you can see here I got my hackle pliers, and just grab that loop and the 3 strands of herl together. You can see I grabbed it there, and wanted to show you that I grabbed it there, and now I'm just twisting. I'm twisting it clockwise. You can probably twist counterclockwise if you so desire. So just twisting this, it gets that peacock herl to stand up on edge, and really it just looks great when you put it on the fly here. So yeah, so got a little bit of extra strength. Again, try not to drag your material over the hook point, because it will break stuff off. So a few turns there, we're going to secure it on here. The nice thing about this, even though I've added that loop in there, we can still reuse that peacock herl for the next fly. So I usually end up pulling the thread out that's in there, the little loop, and then I can use it for the next fly. So we're going to trim off the extra pheasant tail here. Get that off nice and close. So now we're gonna fold the legs over top. That creates our wing case. We're gonna secure them down here, and now this is where we're gonna separate our legs. And I try to, if I have 8 strands of pheasant tail here, I'll try to go 4 and 4 on each side. Don't think the fish is gonna count, but that's the severity of my OCD. That gets me, not the amount of wire wraps. So like I said, just kind of manipulate those pheasant tail fibers, 4 and 4 or 5 and 5, whatever it is, the amount you have. And then I'm going to push them down the side, hold them in place, and a few more wraps to secure them there. So this this is probably the trickiest part of this fly, is getting those fibers in the right spot. Last thing we're going to do, we're going to whip finish, and this is something I started using this year, is the Loon UV flow. I just grab a brush out of it, add a little bit of UV to my thread, and just give it a little zap with the light. I just find it works well for head cement. This UV works really, really well. You can use it for this as well as other UV applications. So I just find it's a great little head cement there. Trim it off nice and close. Try not to cut your legs off. I've done that before. Give it a little zap with the UV light, and that there is our pheasant tail. So pretty simple pattern. I fish it a ton. It still works after all these years. Yeah, great little mayfly imitation. If you tie it in smaller, size 18, 20, you probably get away with using it as a midge pattern as well. So yeah, thanks very much for watching the video.